Hello and welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for April of 2023. We are the astrologers of Pandora Astrology. I'm Jamie Kale Miller. I'm in Berkeley, California.
And I'm Julia Mijas, and I'm in San Francisco, California.
Okay, let's take a look at what's happening in April. Well, Scorpio, let's start with Ceres. Ceres is traveling along through Virgo and is retrograde, which you would know if you checked your horoscope last month when it turned retrograde actually back in February, but it's going to be retrograde for several months, and so it's really worth revisiting this. When Ceres first went retrograde, it was in Libra in your 12th house, and we would have talked about that in your February horoscope. But now it has traveled all the way back into your 11th house in Virgo right here. And here's why it matters. Ceres has to do with, well, things that matter. In other words, the material world and how we interface with it, particularly through our bodies and how we occupy them, how we take care of them for health and longevity, how we eat, and our finances and how we manage them. And so when Ceres goes retrograde, sometimes we find that our finances get all tangled up, or our food and eating gets all tangled up, or we need to really do a reset around how we take care of our body for health and longevity. This particular Ceres retrograde, having traveled back into your 11th house, does suggest that you might want to draw on community support or join with a group, or even engage with something on the internet, because the 11th house has to do with networks and things that are networked, like the internet. You might want to draw on these kinds of internet or community resources to help you with whatever you're trying to untangle right now, whether that is, like getting on a website where you can sort things out for yourself financially, or whether that is like maybe joining an online diet community, for example, so that you can sort things out for your food and eating. Any of those would be a really great way to utilize this transit to make your financial and health life better going forward. Juno is going to go direct next month, hooray, in May, and so we'll talk more about that when it happens. The other planet I want to talk about right now is Juno. And Juno is an asteroid in the asteroid belt, but we just use the word planet as a form of shorthand because we talk about planets an awful lot around here. Juno is traveling through your 7th house of relationship and partnership, and this is really great. Juno loves to be in this house because she is all about partnership herself. She is mostly about committed long-term relationships, such as a spouse or a business partner. And she's also about social networking, connecting, and hooking people up with each other who should be connected. So when Juno is in the 7th house, it's a pretty great time for your social life. It's a really great time for your relationship and for being a partner to your partner, and sitting down and maybe having some dialogues about things that you need to work out in your relationship. And those can go particularly well when Juno is direct and moving fast the way she is right now. So I really, really recommend having those kinds of dialogues while Juno is still here in your 7th house. You might even defer the dialogues about the deeper, more intense and intimate stuff, such as your shared finances or your sex life, for next month when Juno moves ahead into your 8th house, which she's going to do starting around May 1st. Hey, Julia, what's up with Mercury, Venus, and Mars for the Scorpios of the world?
Oh, definitely some Mercury retrograde squirreliness coming up this month, Scorpio, by the end of the month. But at the very beginning, when Mercury is still direct, he starts off in your sixth house. This is Mercury's natural house. So it's a good transit for using your mind at work, for getting organized, getting your routines together. But by April 3rd, Mercury enters your seventh house, where you're going to want to be bouncing your ideas off with another person, maybe a platonic best friend, maybe a business partner, maybe a romantic relationship. Now, by the 21st, this is when Mercury goes retrograde in this house. And times of retrograde are times where we have to review, we have miscommunications, we might have to take back things we said. And since the seventh house rules your romantic relationship as well as contractors, this might be a time where you really seek to get a second opinion. You know, if you feel like you're settling on somebody you're hiring right now, just take a deep breath, because you might change your mind in a few weeks. You might have miscommunications in your romantic relationship. So, just be patient to make sure that if you have to go back over anything, or if you guys have a very, very serious conversation, try to communicate as clearly as you possibly can. Now, Venus, who rules your romantic relationship, also starts the month in the seventh. So beginning of the month, really nice and sweet with your relationship. Great time to be dating if you're single. Then by the end of the month is when you might expect miscommunications with your partner, because Venus brings a little pleasure. She's got a little dating luck if you're single in there too. And then by April 10th, she goes into your eighth house. This is a money house. It represents your partner's income. It represents investments you have, estates, taxes, mortgages. This is a really nice money luck transit, but through other channels than your own personal paycheck, either through someone you're close to or through an institution. So maybe an investment does well. Maybe you're able to remortgage your house successfully or get the loan that you want during this time, or your partner gets a raise and shares it with you. Venus in the eighth house is also kind of a sexy transit as well. So even if you're having some miscommunications with your partner, you can make up for that in the bedroom. Then Mars, who represents our energy, our drive, as well as where we find conflict, is in your ninth house all month. This house rules your beliefs. It's a very opinionated place because it's ruled by Jupiter. So you might be extra bombastic, extra and extra defensive if people disagree with you during this transit. You also might be feeling stir crazy, like you want to go out on an adventure, which is all well and good, but if you have work to do or other things, responsibilities keeping you at home, it might just drive you nuts and really annoy you, because Mars in the ninth just really wants big open spaces, planning a trip, going out and enjoying it. And if you're in school, then this can be a little bit of a frustrating time. You might not be seeing eye to eye with your teachers. If you just handed in a thesis, their critique might really annoy you with Mars in the ninth house too. But I think the best use of this transit is to really do something, put your energy into having a new experience this month. Even if you have to stay in your own local area, try something new. Go to that rock walling, that rock climbing wall in your neighborhood you've never been through before. Just have an active new experience. And I think that Mars in the ninth will be a lot happier.
Oh, yes, definitely. Hi, Jamie here. Before we continue, I just want to take a quick moment to thank you for watching this video. And if you're enjoying this content, please consider becoming a patron on Patreon. Our lowest tier starts at just $5 a month and gives you early access to these monthly horoscope readings. Your support helps keep this content free. The link can be found in the description box below. Thanks again, and let's get back to the video. Well, let's talk about the moons coming up this month. The first one's happening on April 5th. It is a full moon in Libra, which is really going to pull you inward because this moon lands in your 12th house. Now, the full moon tends to bring strong emotions. This one is really sweetened quite a bit by being placed in Libra. This is a very diplomatic moon, and this moon just wants to retreat because it's in your 12th house. It just wants to retreat to a place of peacefulness and calm and beauty. Now, part of why it might want to retreat is because there are these planets over here opposite the moon that are really quite rowdy and rambunctious and might even signal a bit of anger or even conflict, most especially in your workplace. These planets land here in the 6th house, a house of work, health, service, personal organization. And because there is so much forceful, driven, and even opinionated Aries energy going on here, you might be encountering that stuff in your workplace, or you might be feeling it while in your workplace, like a sense of frustration that maybe other people aren't listening to you, or that things aren't going fast enough for you, or you might feel that people around you are bringing, a certain level of irritation. So the full moon in Libra wants you to make every action wholesome. That's what we've titled it. And that moon just really wants to smooth things over and wants you to, when the workday is done, to just go to your happy place, go to your own personal oasis and restore your emotional balance. Now, the other moon that I want to tell you about is more important even than the first one. It is a new moon, and it is also a solar eclipse. So this solar eclipse lands in your 6th house, again, work, health, service, personal organization. And it's in Aries, again, a very fiery sign. So there is a lot of fire and intensity about this eclipse, very much. Now, eclipses show us our shadow, and our shadow, as Jung described it, is that stuff that we don't like to look at every day. We prefer to remain unconscious of it. It's that stuff that, lies on the ground there behind us, as we would rather put our faces forward than look backward. Definitely something that's very true of Aries. And so an eclipse like this one can show you your shadow. Your shadow can pop up and break its way into your consciousness because of an action that you took. And this landing in your 6th house is a real caution, because you don't want to misbehave on the job and, cause some difficult, like painful thing to happen, like losing your job, or, reacting the wrong way to somebody else on the job. And just making, the job atmosphere pretty crappy. Now, the other caution about this eclipse is because this is a house of health, and because Aries is a fiery sign, you should definitely watch out for inflammation, possible inflammation, or having too much heat in your body, or running your health routines so quickly and in such a hasty slapdash way that that you're not really supporting your own longevity very well. So I think it's really important to, maintain and sort of slow down your approach to your health practices under an eclipse like this one. We're calling it volcanic actions tempered by sympathy. And if you want to know why, go on over to our website, pandoraastrology.com, and check the forecast page where you can see the videos about both of these moons. And the other thing I want to tell you about is the seasonal change, which happens on the next day, April 20th. And you can see that the sun shifts on over here into Taurus. And then it changes the shift. It shifts really the whole theme of the month, because in the beginning of the month, we see all these placements in Aries right here in your 6th house, bringing lots of emphasis to your job life and how you organize yourself and how you maintain your health practices and all of the routines that hold your life together. That's really emphasized here in the beginning of the month with all these placements in Aries. But with the sun's movement into the 7th house, you can see that there's a big pile of planets here in your 7th house here at the end of the month, shifting the emphasis and the theme into the domain of relationship and partnership. Now, wherever the sun goes, we want to bring the sunlight of our high quality attention, because sunlight is nourishing and things can thrive and flourish wherever the sun goes. And so bringing your attention to your partnership and putting some high quality attention on your partner is going to make your partnership so much better. And this shouldn't even be that hard to do, because Venus and Juno have just been traveling through this house earlier in the month, already making your relationship a nicer place to be. And if you're in a dating mode, this has been a really good month for that, believe me, especially with Venus traveling along through this house, as Julia said, and Juno traveling along through it. And now with the sun moving in and bringing this emphasis, if you're single and looking, this is a really good month to get yourself out there and, go on that blind date that your friend recommends that you go on. Just test the waters, give it a try, go to that party and you might meet somebody, and that would be pretty awesome. And when you shine the high quality sunlight of your attention on somebody who is a prospective partner during a transit like this, well, sometimes magic can happen.
If you love Pandora Astrology's free and informative horoscopes, please do hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and share our horoscopes with your friends.
We make these horoscopes for you for free, and if you appreciate it, supporting us on Patreon is the best way to show it. Share our horoscopes with your friends too. Have a beautiful April, and until next time, we'll see you around the cosmos.
Bye-bye.